Hey everyone, two super late updates here, one regarding Palantir and one regarding Apple. So you all know about the Colonial Pipeline hack, the pipeline that goes from Texas to the East Coast. Anyway, this was perpetrated by a firm that provides ransomware, maybe actors using the product from that firm. The firm was called, or is called DarkSide. It is a Russian-linked cybercrime group, and so somebody within that group used the ransomware software to lock up the Colonial Pipeline and demand ransom. They got about $5 million worth of crypto, and we heard today that the FBI was able to track the Bitcoin public ledger and track exactly where that money went, which is one of the beautiful things about crypto. Usually, criminals will take that money and try to send it through multiple intermediary masks or transfer it even to different currencies to try to break the tracking feature of using cryptocurrencies. Not exactly sure why they didn't in this case. There was even a note that maybe the FBI somehow had access to a private key. But anyway, the FBI was able to recoup about 63.7 Bitcoin, which is a pretty large portion of the stolen funds. Now, Bitcoin has dropped substantially in value since this happened, but the fact that they were able to capture a good chunk back is actually a very positive development for Bitcoin. The big question now is, was Palantir potentially involved? And all we have here, because of course they don't clarify these sorts of deals, is that the FBI did begin to work with Palantir in 2013. And so the companies, well, the FBI and Palantir, have been working together. Now, we do know that there are other cybersecurity firms that exist, or even Bitcoin forensic firms that exist. For example, there's Big Digital in Canada that does exactly this kind of work. But we do also know that Palantir has considered adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, and Peter Thiel is a pretty big Bitcoin proponent. In fact, some even consider Peter Thiel a Bitcoin maximalist. These are folks who basically says that he believes Bitcoin is superior to all other digital currencies, and that the number one currency that everybody should care about is Bitcoin and nothing else. So it wouldn't shock me to see a potential link between Palantir and the FBI here. It's very difficult to know, and that's one of the things I hate about investing in Palantir. But all I want to say here is this is a win for Bitcoin, and a win for Bitcoin is potentially also a win for Palantir, especially given Peter Thiel's Bitcoin maximalist beliefs and his interests in even adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. So this very, very good news. Finally, less FUD for cryptocurrency. We like this. Because imagine if this money was just wired to some random bank account and then wired to like 5 or 6 different bank accounts, the money would be gone. It would have evaporated. I am a little curious as to why these folks weren't able to get this $5 million out of the Bitcoin network and into some other currency. Part of me wonders that maybe there were limits on how much they were able to transfer, or they weren't able to find intermediaries that weren't large brokerages that were willing to accept the money. Because there do exist these treasurer men, potentially women, of course, but there are these treasurer men, that's a quote that the Financial Times uses, that will basically accept your money and then turn it into like gift cards or cash for you. I do imagine that those folks have some sort of limit, like maybe they only do $50,000 transactions at a time because they have to actually get a hold of the cash somehow or gift cards somehow. So I actually see this as a massive win for Bitcoin. Now, in other news, let's jump on over to Apple. I did just read this story here. Exclusive, Apple in talks with CATL, which, by the way, is a massive battery supplier. It's actually probably, I believe it's potentially the world's largest battery supplier. Size doesn't matter in this case. But what is interesting is CATL has also provided batteries to not just Tesla, but also NIO, and has worked with NIO and Tesla on developing new batteries. But anyway, exclusive, Apple in talks with CATL and BYD, which is actually a company that Warren Buffett invests in and is an automotive developer, automotive company. See, they develop vehicles. But anyway, also a very large company. And so apparently Apple is in talks with both of these companies over battery supplies for its electric car. Why are they being so effing mysterious? I really want to know what's going on with Apple. So apparently this is for their planned electric vehicle. For people with knowledge of the matter said, the discussions are subject to change. Apple has made building manufacturing facilities in the United States a condition for potential battery suppliers. CATL, though, is reluctant to build factories in the United States because of tensions between the Biden administration and China. This makes sense. It was not exactly clear if Apple is also talking to other battery makers, and Apple has yet to make a public announcement regarding their car plans, but this is pretty interesting. Apple is also in favor of using the lithium iron phosphate batteries. These are cheaper. Their quality and reliability has actually gone up substantially. They're very, very good. Almost all Teslas made in China use these, and I believe the ones made in America use these as well. They're just very reliable, excellent batteries. They're not as good as, for example, the 4680s, the new cell technology that Tesla has developed and that they're putting into like the Model S Plaid. But folks, this is very, very interesting. Apple has been working on self-driving technology and has targeted 2024 for the production of a passenger vehicle, Reuters reported in December. People familiar with the matter have previously said Apple's planned EV could include its own breakthrough battery technology. It was not clear if there were discussions between Apple and these companies on that. Yeah, obviously, if they're talking to CATL and BYD, maybe that's not the case. But who knows? Maybe they're working on both. Maybe they're trying to come up with their own cells like Tesla is with the 4680s, while at the same time getting sort of a mass market battery that's ready to go right away. All right, then we also have many battery makers are ramping up production to meet demand. Absolutely. Joe Biden's planned infrastructure proposal includes $174 billion to produce the domestic production of the EV market. Chinese battery makers are expected to grow at a faster pace than foreign peers in the United States, thanks to the expansion, blah, blah, blah. CATL is also planning a new automotive battery plant in Shanghai, continuing a blistering pace of expansion that will cement its lead as the world's #1 supplier. It's pretty incredible. I am very, very excited about both of these potentials. Palantir, obviously, rumor mill, quite frankly, this year with Apple, probably also rumor mill, but both very, very interesting. I'm excited about both of these. These are companies I track very, very closely. So if you're not yet paying attention to both of these companies for both of these purposes, you better start. Because Apple and a car, as well as Palantir and Bitcoin, big things to pay attention to. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.